UFC 265, Lewis versus Gane for the UFC interim heavyweight belt in a 5-round main event. The co-main event did get canceled literally just hours ago between Amanda the Lioness Nunes, the greatest female fighter of all time, and Juliana Pena due to Nunes getting positive COVID, a positive COVID test just earlier today. That fight is canceled, probably going to be rescheduled for one of the other pay-per-views on 266, 267, or 268. Not too sure which one they're going to put it on, but for right now, that fight is canceled and off the card. Now we got Jose Aldo Pedro Munoz, most likely being the co-main event, Vicente Luque, Michael Chiesa in the welterweight division, Yadong Song and Casey Kenny in the bantamweight division, Tisha Torres and Angela Hill in the women's strawweight division right there. An absolute beast of a striker in Rafael Fiziev and Bobby Green in the lightweight division, Ed Herman and Alonzo Menifield in the light heavyweight division, Carolina Kowalik-Hewix and Jessica Penne in the women's strawweight division, Manel Kape and Odie Osborne in the flyweight division, Miles Johnson, Anderson Dos Santos in the bantamweight division, Victoria Leonardo and Melissa Gatto in the flyweight division, Draco Rodriguez, Vince Morales in the bantamweight division, and Johnny Munoz Jr. and Jamie Simmons also in the bantamweight division right there. It is definitely a really good thing the UFC decided to, slap an interim belt onto the main event between Ciryl Gane and Derek Lewis, because without it, I don't know if this would be pay-per-view. Like, it's Ciryl Gane, Derek Lewis without the interim belt. Like, would you pay for it, especially without Nunes and Pena as well? I don't know. I probably still would, because there's Jose Aldo, Pedro, Vicente, Yadong, all those guys. But definitely a good thing they put Derek Lewis and Ciryl Gane on this fight card instead of like a main event of a fight night or something like that. But overall, amazing fight card. The main card is absolutely stacked. It would have been a little bit more stacked with Nunes and Juliana Pena, but they're probably going to put Rafael Fiziev and Bobby Green onto that main card right there. Overall, stacked fight card. Cannot wait to see this fight card right here. But yeah, let's go into the first fight on the fight card in the bantamweight division right here. Johnny Munoz Jr. and Jamie Simmons in the bantamweight division. Johnny Munoz Jr., 10 wins and 1 loss. Pretty much the same age at 28 years old and 28 years old. A little bit taller and a little bit of a reach advantage right there. But in the fight with Jamie Simmons and Johnny Munoz Jr., it's very clear where both fighters want the fight to be. Jamie Simmons wants to go out there and box with Johnny Munoz Jr. and get the knockout win in the first or second round. And to be quite honest, he needs a knockout, because I think if the fight does go all the way, he's probably going to get grinded out to a decision. Johnny Munoz Jr. has very good wrestling and very good grappling. Out of all of his wins, pretty much all of them are by ground upon TKO or by submission. He got 2 takedowns averaged inside of the UFC right there. If you look at how he's getting his wins, second round rear naked, another rear naked heel hook, knockout win, rear naked armbar, TKO armbar. Every single win is on the ground, and then all of those decision wins are grinding, wrestling, and grappling wins. So it's very clear where Johnny Munoz Jr. wants the fight to be, but even in the striking game, he is going to have that 1-inch reach and that 3-inch height advantage as well, so he can kind of keep range and have Jamie Simmons come towards him and land his combinations and go down for the takedown, and then kind of implement that game plan of wrestling and grappling for the win. I think this is a very simple prediction for Johnny Munoz Jr. He's the better grappler, the better wrestler. He's going to have the height and the reach advantage as well, which is going to force Jamie Simmons to close the distance, and when he closes the distance on a wrestler or grappler to land your strikes, you're going to get a little overzealous at times, and eventually Johnny Munoz is going to level change, go down for the takedown, and then eventually start controlling you on the ground with a wrestling, ground pound, and submission game. 91% going Munoz Jr. I would not blame them. I mean, Johnny Munoz Jr. pretty much way better in the wrestling and grappling. Jamie Simmons, he does have some pretty solid power, but with I believe like 3 or 4 knockout wins, first a knockout, first a knockout, first a knockout, and first a knockout. He does have some pretty solid power in his hands, but I just don't see him finishing him, because even if he hurts Johnny Munoz Jr. with a big right hand, which he does many times in his fights, he's going to get overzealous looking for that finish, and a wrestler and grappler type of guy in Johnny Munoz Jr., is gonna take him down. Once you start going a little over, like you try to go for that finish, you're gonna get taken down by a wrestler and grappler, Johnny Munoz Jr. It's a pretty easy prediction in my opinion. Johnny Munoz Jr. is gonna go out there, keep the fight even on the feet, at range, have Jamie come to him, land the takedowns, then control the fight on the ground. I don't think we'll see a finish right here. I think the fight does go all the way, and Johnny Munoz is a 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision win right there. Should be a really, really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Draco Rodriguez and Vince Morales in the bantamweight division. All I really have to say right here is 50-50, and the loser of the fight is probably gonna get cut from the UFC. Draco Rodriguez is 0-1 so far inside the UFC to Ayman Zahabi. Eesh, yeah, not the best loss right there. I mean, Ayman Zahabi has 8 wins and 2 losses. Did pretty horrible inside the UFC with a 1 win over Reginaldo Vieira, and they got knocked out and dominated by Vince Morales, who Draco Rodriguez is about to fight. But right here, it's very clear exactly where Draco wants the fight to go and exactly where Vince Morales wants the fight to go. Vince Morales is gonna have way better striking. He is gonna have the striking advantage for sure. He's the faster striker than Draco Rodriguez, the more powerful striker than Draco Rodriguez, and he has way better combinations. I mean, by no means is Vince Morales a good striker, but Draco Rodriguez also isn't a good striker right there as well. So I think it's not really that hard to be the better striker than Draco Rodriguez, to be quite honest. So I think Vince Morales will have the striking advantage, and Draco will have the wrestling and grappling advantage. Most of his wins are on the bottom, where he's going for the triangle, where he's going for the armbar, the Kimura, just all the submissions from the bottom, even the guillotine right there as well. He's got 2 guillotines, an armbar, and a triangle choke submission. So the best way he's gonna win the fight is gonna be on the ground. On the feet, I don't know about the chin. I mean, he got knocked out by Ayman Zahabi. That's not a good look, man. If you got knocked out by Ayman Zahabi, I think Vince Morales has more power than Ayman Zahabi as well, so he's more likely to knock out Draco Rodriguez with 5 knockout wins right there. So Draco needs to get this fight to the ground as soon as possible. If that does not happen, I'm going to go with the underdog in Vince Morales winning the fight by a knockout in the first or in a dominant 30-27 decision. If he can get the fight down, of course, I'm going to go Draco winning the fight. That is why it is a 50-50 fight. Will Draco get the takedown or will he not get the takedown? That's pretty much what we got to be looking at right here. No way he should be an 84% favorite on these Tapology predictions. Zero chance he should be that big of a favorite. All of you out there, don't bet Draco Rodriguez. Do not do it. No. Draco Rodriguez striking, it's not that good. I mean, literally, like, the lowest level strikers, like Ayman Zahabi, knocked him out in the first round. That is embarrassing for Draco Rodriguez. So he needs to land the takedown. I think eventually he will get the fight down, use that wrestling, and use that grappling to grind out a close to 29-28 decision. But it's not one that I'd be very confident in, especially on the betting odds. There's no way I'm betting on him. Just with the chin that he does have, and the fact that, I mean, Ayman Zahabi beat him, that's a little iffy right there. But overall, this fight is going to be a very close one. I think either way, if Vince Morales wins or if Draco Rodriguez wins, it is going to be a 29-28 for Draco, landing a couple of takedowns in the first round and then the second round, then losing in the third round, or Vince just defending the takedowns and winning 2 rounds and then getting taken down in the third round or something like that. But either way, very 50-50 fight, just underdog or pass. That's all I really got to say about it in the bantamweight division right there. But I'm going to lean very slightly, like 51% chance Draco wins, like 49% chance of Vince Morales wins, just because Draco Rodriguez does have better wrestling and grappling, and he's a grinder. I mean, he could go out there and just keep on going for takedown after takedown after takedown. Eventually, I think he will get him down. So my prediction right here, 29-28 decision, but I would not bet on him. That's all I got to say. Underdog or pass right there, but overall, very close fight in the bantamweight division right there. Victoria Leonardo and Melissa Gatto in the women's flyweight division. It's another 50-50 fight. A lot of the fights on this fight card are very 50-50. This is another one of those fights. I mean, the betting odds for the fight, I believe, are 50-50. Oh, wow. Wow, the odds have changed. Never mind. The odds were 50-50 at the start at -110, -110, but now Melissa Gatto is a pretty big favorite. That is very interesting. So, for this fight right here, Victoria Leonardo and Melissa Gatto, they both have decent striking. I mean, both of them aren't really gonna impress me too much with their striking, but they both have average striking. I wouldn't be going out there saying like Melissa Gatto is a much better striking. My dog is sneezing a bunch right now, but it is a very 50-50 fight on the feet with the striking between Melissa Gatto and Victoria Leonardo, but the way that Victoria Leonardo wins her fights is not in the striking. It is in the wrestling and with the ground and pound. We saw the fight on Dana White's Contender Series, getting the second round of ground and pound TKO. I'm not too sure how many takedowns she did land in the fight, but she did really, really good in the wrestling and grappling game of controlling her opponent on the ground and landing that ground and pound, eventually getting the finish. Yeah, 3 takedowns right there is very, very solid. But in this fight with Melissa Gatto, does she even want to get a takedown? That is my question. Usually, she's got an armbar submission win, a rear naked, another rear naked, another rear naked, and then that ground upon TKO. But even with the good submission skills and even with that wrestling that she's gonna have in the fight, does she want to even take down Melissa Gatto? 6 wins, 0 losses, and 2 draws. I don't even know if I would want to go for a takedown on her because she has 4 submission wins, 2 decision wins right there, and 0 knockout wins. All of her submission wins are on bottom. I mean, or it's like an armbar on top. All of her wins are triangles, or armbars, or kimuras from the bottom. She did get 1 win over Carol Rosa. If any of you guys know who Carol Rosa is, she's a very, very grinding wrestler and ground and pounder, just like her opponent in the fight. Melissa Gatto's opponent right now is a grinding wrestler, ground and pounding type of girl, as we saw in the Chelsea Hackett fight a couple of months ago. But Melissa Gatto went out there and looked really, really good. Even on bottom, after Carol Rosa landed those takedowns, she was landing from the bottom and eventually almost sunk in that triangle choke submission from the bottom and switched it to a Kimura and tapped out Carol Rosa. And again, if you guys do not know who Carol Rosa is, we'll check on the UFC stats. She's an amazing, amazing wrestler. That's why I'm not too confident in Victoria Leonardo going out there and wrestling and grappling, because Melissa Gatto's submission game from the bottom is just that good. I mean, she submitted Carol Rosa. That is a very, very impressive thing to do. Let's see, it's not showing just yet. Let's check. Carol Rosa, there it is. So Carol Rosa, 14 wins at 3 losses, lands 2 takedowns every single fight, but she lands at a 60% accuracy and 90% takedown defense. Her goal in her fights is to take her opponent down over and over and over again and destroy them on the ground. Against Vanessa Mello, had 5 minutes of control time and just dominated her on the ground with ground and pound and won that fight. Against Jocelyn Edwards, landed 4 takedowns with 11 minutes of control time. So that's the type of fighter Carol Rosa is. She's a grinding wrestler looking for the ground and pound and looking for the TKO. Same thing with Victoria Leonardo. That's why this fight is so close between Victoria Leonardo and Melissa Gatto, because Melissa is the better grappler and she's honestly really, really good against wrestlers because they just kind of stay on top and going for the ground and pound. It's very, very hard for them to go for the ground and pound because as soon as they throw a right hand with their ground and pound, she's gonna grab the arm and look for an armbar, look for a triangle. She's immediately just going for submission after submission after submission and looking to get that tap out. So it's a very, very close fight. I am going to be leaning towards Melissa Gatto. The striking game, again, is very, very 50-50, but I do think Victoria Leonardo is not going to want to take down Melissa Gatto because of the submission game from bottom from Melissa Gatto. So I think if the fight does hit the ground, it is going to be Melissa Gatto on top of Victoria Leonardo. When Melissa is on top of you, you're going to stay there. I mean, when she gets taken down, she's going to go for the submissions and eventually she's going to get back up. But when she is on top of you, you're not getting back up. She's going to get the submission or she's going to keep you there for the rest of the round. And I think we'll see a decision win from Melissa Gatto right there. I think Victoria Leonardo is going to get taken down 3, maybe 4 times in the fight. Maybe get submitted by an armbar, by a triangle, by a guillotine, something like that. But overall, I do think the fight does go all the way. Melissa Gatto has the better grappling, and in my opinion, Victoria Leonardo is not going to want to wrestle. So in that case, Melissa Gatto will have the better wrestling as well. Again, the striking is very, very even, but with a wrestling and grappling advantage for Melissa Gatto, I'm going to have to give her the very, very slight edge right here. Also, the fact that she is going to be a little bit bigger, moving from the bantamweight division all the way to the flyweight division. So as the size advantage, the grappling, and the wrestling advantage as well, I'm going to go Melissa Gatto by a very, very close decision right there, 29-28. I think one of the rounds Victoria could keep the fight on the feet and maybe outstrike her by a little bit. But either way, even if Victoria Leonardo does really, really good on the striking or anything like that, I think eventually Melissa Gatto will get her down, control her there, and win the fight by a unanimous decision right there. Overall, very, very close fight in the women's flyweight division right there. Manel Kape and Ode Osborne in the flyweight division. Manel Kape, the 16th best flyweight fighter in the world, and a very, very powerful flyweight fighter. I mean, 15 wins and 6 losses before joining the UFC. he was an absolute killer, knocking out Kai Asakura by second round knockout, Tageya Mizugaki by second round knockout, Saichiro Ito by second round knockout, and then a submission win right there as well. But the main way he does win his fights is in the striking game, and 9 knockout wins, 5 submission wins, and only 1 win coming by a decision right there. His only losses are by submission and by decision right there. So in this fight with Ode Osbourne, who's going to have the slight height advantage and the reach advantage, he also has some very, very solid striking. We saw the last fight with not really the best opponent. I mean, Jerome Rivera, I believe, is like 0-4 in the UFC, but still, he looked really, really good in the fight, landing a really good straight left hand and knocking him out in the very first round in only 26 seconds. Super fast knockout win. But he does have some pretty good grappling as well. Triangle, first round ground upon knockout win. Triangle again, armbar submission win. Another ground upon knockout win, and then a rear naked choke submission. So in this fight with Manel Kape, and Ode Osbourne, I do think Ode Osbourne is going to need to go out there and wrestle and grapple for the win. Or he could use that height and reach advantage of 5 inches in the reach. And then I believe only like 2 inches in the height to kind of keep range. Stay on the outside, jab, leg kick, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And kind of do that in the striking game. But I kind of feel it's not gonna turn out too well for him. Because Manel Kape, if that is an if right there, if he has the game plan that he did in the second round of his last fight with Matthews Nikolai, I don't think it's going to be a good day for Ode Osbourne in the striking game, because in that second round of the fight, he went out there and he looked really, really good. If you look how he's landing those strikes in the third round, he went 31 to 20, or sorry, the second round, 28 to 21 in total significant strikes, but how he's landing the strikes, 19 to the head, 6 to the body, and 3 to the leg right there. I encourage all of you guys watching this video, watch the second round of Manel Kape and Matthews Nikolai. That's how Manel Kape needs to fight. In the fight with Matthews Nikolai in that second round, he wasn't doing the thing where he's just sitting back, going for the jab, going for right hand. He went out there in that second round like he should. He went out there, threw a lot of volume and a lot of pressure, backed Matthews Nikolai against the cage, body shot, right hook, left hook. He just started throwing, and that's what Manel Kape needs to do with a guy like Ode Osbourne, who you're not going to be at range because he's going to have that 4 or 5 inch reach advantage and the height advantage. You're not going to beat Ode Osbourne at range. So you need to close that distance, and you need to throw a lot of pressure and a lot of volume on Ode Osbourne and try to knock him out. I mean, he has nine knockouts for a reason. He has the power, and he needs to use that power and add it with pressure. Pressure plus power with Manel Kape is the perfect ingredient to win his fights inside the UFC. We just have not seen him implement the pressure and the power, just staying like this and then throwing a big right hand. That's all he's really doing. He's not going out there and laying out the pressure like he did in the second round with the Matthews Nikolai fight. But if he does do that, which I think he will, I think he's learned his lesson after losing twice in the UFC against the Matthews Nikolai and Alexander de Pantoja. I do think he learned his lesson, and this time he's gonna go out there, hopefully, I don't know if he did or not, but hopefully he goes out there, learned his lesson, and he's gonna throw a lot of pressure and a lot of volume on Ode, have Ode backed against the cage and just start throwing bombs, because who's the more powerful fighter, Manel Kape or Ode Osbourne? It's Manel Kape. So close the distance, pressure and volume, and look for that knockout. That's the main way you're gonna win. Again, Ode Osbourne needs to keep range, not let Manel Kape pressure, not let Manel Kape throw all that volume. Keep range, keep on moving on the outside, jab, leg kicks, all that type of thing, and maybe implement a little bit of wrestling and grappling here and there as well. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the pressure and volume and the power of Manel Kape, if he uses it, Manel Kape, you need to use that power. You need to use that pressure. I really, really hope he does. But if he does, I'm definitely going to go Manel Kape. I'm hoping he does. I do think he will. I think he learned his lesson. So my prediction right here is going to be a knockout win for Manel Kape in the first or second round. I think he learned his lesson. He's going to go out there, pressure, and throw a lot of volume, and use that powerful right and left hook, and probably get the knockout in the first or second round right there. Overall, very, very good fight in the flyweight division right there. Carolina Kowalik-Ewicks and Jessica Penne in the women's strawweight division. To be quite honest with you, both girls could honestly be cut. Like, to be quite honest, Carolina Kowalik-Ewicks is 0-4 in her last 4 fights. Yeah, before that, I mean, she beat Felice Herrig by a split decision. That is pretty sad. That is pretty sad. To beat Felice Harry by a split decision. Yeah, after that, she did fight some really legit competition. Jessica Andrade, Michelle Waterson, Alexa Grasso, Yan Xiaonan. Very, very legit competition. Only other losses to Joanna and Claudia. She's losing to the best of the best. Even beating Randa Marcos, Rose Namajunas right there. She's beating some really, really good fighters. But recently, she has not really done too good. Jessica Penne also hasn't done too good recently. Personally, I do think she lost her last fight to Lupita Benitez, and before that lost to Danielle Taylor, Jessica Andrade, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But two veterans in the women's strawweight division. I don't really want to see this fight. I'm not really looking forward to see the fight, but it is a very close one. I mean, the odds right now -110 and -110. But it seems like a pretty easy prediction in my opinion in going for Carolina Kowalkiewicz to win the fight. It's just the volume. The volume for Jessica Penne is not there. Yeah, she has the 3-inch reach advantage. Yeah, she has the 2-inch height advantage. Yeah, she has a pretty good jab at range, a pretty good 1-2, some good leg kicks, all that type of stuff. Yeah, she's pretty good at doing all that. But in terms of the volume of her going for the jab and the 1-2, it's not really there. I mean, 2.4 strikes landed every single minute, compared to Carolina with 5.27 strikes every single minute. I mean, there's way more volume. I mean, in all the fights with Jessica Penne, she's landing 25 strikes, 27 strikes, 31 strikes, 12 strikes, 14, 18, 29 strikes. She's not throwing any volume whatsoever. And all Carolina Kowalkiewicz really needs to do right here is do what she always does and throw a lot more volume. I mean, in the UFC, she's throwing double the amount of volume and landed with double the amount of volume as well. She has way better striking defense and way better striking accuracy. All the striking, Carolina Kowalkiewicz is better. I mean, yeah, the reach advantage and the height advantage, it's not going to matter. Carolina's going to pressure the heck out of you and throw all of the volume she can possibly throw. And in my opinion, she's going to win the fight by a decision. I don't think we're going to see any wrestling or grappling. Yeah, Jessica Penne does average 1.5 takedowns per fight, but Carolina does have a very solid 75% takedown defense. So seems like a pretty easy prediction in my opinion. Not too sure why it is a 50-50 fight. Maybe she's going to get another robbery type of win like she did against Lupita Benitez. I don't really know, but either way, Carolina Kowalkiewicz with the volume, with that pressure, and that's pretty much it. The volume and the pressure is going to be what gets her the win, and the lack of volume and pressure of Jessica Penne is going to be what gets her the loss. So it's an easy prediction in my opinion. In the 50-50 fight in the strawweight division, I'm definitely going to be going Carolina Kowalkiewicz right there, winning the fight by a unanimous decision right there. Should be a really good fight in the women's strawweight division right there. Ed Herman and Alonzo Menifield in the light heavyweight division. The first thing I gotta say is the age. That's a little iffy right there. 40 and almost 41 years old for Ed Herman right there. Alonzo Menifield, yeah, he's a little bit older than his prime of his MMA career at 33 and a half years old, but Ed Herman has been fighting since before I was born, has been in the UFC since before I was born. 2003 was his UFC debut. He was on The Ultimate Fighter literally 6 months, 7 months before I was born. That's how long this man has been fighting inside the UFC. He has a really good wrestling and a really good ground and pound and submission game. 15 submission wins, 7 knockout wins, and 5 decision wins. Out of his losses, only been knocked out 3 times, which is very interesting. The only times getting knocked out by Derek Brunson right there, a wrestler, and then I believe probably earlier in his career right there. But against Alonzo Menifield, he's probably going to get knocked out, to be quite honest with you. Alonzo Menifield has a lot of power. I mean, out of his wins, 7 knockout wins and 3 submission wins, and the fact that Ed Herman is going to go out there trying to wrestle and grapple and ground pound for the win, will he even get the takedown? That is my question, because Alonzo Menifield has really solid takedown defense of 85% so far inside the UFC, which is very solid. And that's going to be the main way Ed Herman wins, is going to be with the takedowns and with the wrestling. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to actually land the takedown and use that wrestling. So I do think the fight does stay on the feet. And the better striker, the more powerful striker, the faster striker, the younger striker, pretty much all the advantages in the striking game, plus the takedown defense for Alonzo Menifield. It seems like a pretty no-brainer type of prediction. I'm 100% going to go for Alonzo Menifield to win the fight. But you never know. I mean, the referee last time around they literally just gave Ed Herman the win against Mike Rodriguez. I mean, he literally lost the fight by a TKO due to a body shot. I believe it was a left kick to the body or something like that. But they thought it hit him in the nuts. They stopped the fight. It would have been a TKO win for Mike Rodriguez, but eventually the referee thought it was a nut shot, so they stopped the fight, and then Ed Herman came back and got the Kimura. I mean, I don't even know how that happens. Like, you can't check the replay and see that it hit right here on the belly. I don't really know. That was a weird win, but if something like that does not happen, it's very clear Alonzo Menifield is gonna get the win. He's more powerful, he's faster, he's younger, everything like that. So I think we'll see another knockout win from Alonzo Menifield in the first or second round right there. Overall, very, very solid fight in the light heavyweight division right there. Rafael Fiziev and Bobby Green in the lightweight division. All I gotta say for this man, Rafael Fiziev, 1 second. That's all I gotta say. The man is an absolute beast. Absolute beast. I'm gonna sit here and say it right now. In the top 15 of the UFC lightweight division, I think he could potentially be a top 8 fighter in the lightweight division. I mean, if you look at the guys in the top 8, I do think he can definitely beat guys like Tony Ferguson. He can definitely beat a guy like Rafael dos Anjos, and I personally do think he can knock out Dan Hooker. I mean, his striking is, like, it's insane, man. He has crazy, crazy footwork. He does the switch thing so many times in the fight. His head movement is amazing. His left hooks, his right hooks, I mean, he's so fast. The body kicks are amazing. The leg kicks are amazing. His Muay Thai is amazing. That knockout win over Renato Moicano, amazing. I mean, I've watched the Renato Moicano fight like 3 or 4 times just to get a better understanding of how he's actually doing what he's doing. But in the fight with Renato Moicano, he sets up the strike so well. He's landing the body over and over and over again at range, landing with the leg kicks super, super fast. I mean, I do think he has the fastest body kicks and leg kicks, to be quite honest, in this lightweight division. And one of the fastest hands as well in the lightweight division. Against Renato Moicano, he landed a left hook to the body, went straight with the right hand, and then caught him with the left hook. Think about that for a second. And he's doing that super, super fast. So, left hook to the body, that's going to get your hands to go from here to right here. Not because you think he's going to throw another shot to the body. Your hands naturally are going to go down from that left hook to the body. Then he hits you with a straight right down the middle. Then right after you go to the body, you're going to go up like this and try to protect straight down the middle after that right hand. And then, like in super fast timing, he's going to hit you with another left hook just as he knocked out Renato Moicano. I mean, it's such a fast sequence of events. The left hook to the body, the straight right, and then the left hook right to the face. It's so fast that you don't even know what's going to happen. You're going down, you're going up, and then you're knocked out. That's exactly what happened with Renato Moicano. He's just opening up the head by going to the body. His hands go down, he hits him with the straight right, his hands go up, and now he's open to the side. So he goes to the left hook and knocks him out to the side with that left hook. And then the ground and pound after that was also very vicious. But the man's striking is insane. I mean, even at range, Bobby Green is a pretty decent kicker. But Rafael Fiziev at range, so fast, so hard of body kicks, so fast, so hard of leg kicks, and the speed at which he throws his hooks, his left hooks, his right hooks, pretty much everything is amazing. And the reason I do think some of the guys in the lightweight division that are wrestlers and grapplers, like a Gregor Gillespie, like a Armin Tazar-Yukon, like an Islam Makhachev, the reason I think this guy right here in Rafael Fiziev would do really, really good against them is the way he moves his body around the cage, the way he switch stances all the time, like he's always bouncing around the cage. His movement and his legs around the cage allow him to, when he's getting attempted on a takedown, like say Bobby Green goes for a double leg takedown, his movement is just so fast. He can get out of harm's way so fast. That is why he's never been taken down so far inside the UFC. He has a 100% takedown defense. Right here, let's check right here. 100% takedown defense inside of the UFC just because of that footwork and the movement that he does show. And if you go for a takedown, he's gonna hurt you. You go for a takedown, he's gonna hit you with an uppercut, with a knee, and just slide right out. You're gonna be sitting right there with another takedown that you're not going to land. So his takedown defense is amazing. His kicks are amazing. His body kicks, his leg kicks, his left hook, his right hook, his straight right down the middle. I mean, everything about this man right here, it screams potential champion. Sorry about that. A guy that is such a good striker that he's just dominating his opponents on the feet. He's so fast in the boxing and with his Muay Thai and the kicks to the body with his leg kicks. He's such a fast striker, and honestly, like a guy I think could be better than Charles Oliveira in the striking, to be quite honest. I think he has a good chance of knocking out Oliveira on the feet. He has a good chance of knocking out a Beneil Dariush on the feet. He has a good chance of knocking out a Dan Hooker on the feet. This guy screams a future champion. Plus, you add that with 100% takedown defense. God dang, the man's an absolute beast. I mean, if you couldn't guess already, my prediction of the fight is, of course, going to be a Rafael Vaziev decision win. The reason I'm going to go with knockout. I know Bobby Green has not been knocked out in forever. I mean, if you look at his last couple of losses, the last loss was Dustin the Diamond Poirier by first round knockout, but I honestly do think that Rafael Vaziev is more powerful than Dustin Poirier. He's faster than Dustin Poirier as well. So I'm going to think right here that Rafael Vaziev, one of the best strikers in the lightweight division, with one of the best takedown defenses in the lightweight division, is going to go out there and get that left hook or right hook, maybe a body kick knockout. Whatever the case may be, I do think Rafael Vaziev is going to get a knockout. I know we didn't really talk about Bobby Green in this prediction, but we don't really need to. I mean, we have a future top 5, future top 3 title challenger, future champion in our midst right here. Rafael Vaziev is an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Give him a top 10 opponent after this win, because he definitely deserves it. But Rafael Vaziev by a TKO or knockout win in the first or second round right there. Absolute beast. Rafael Vaziev is just an absolute beast. But yeah, TKO win in the first or second round right there. Tecia Torres and Angela Hill 2 in the women's strawweight division. The last time these two girls did end up fighting was a long time ago, way back in 2015, like 5 years ago. That's when Angela Hill literally was only 2-0 as a professional MMA fighter. Things have changed a lot since then. After that loss to Tecia, she fought Rose Namajunas, went on a 4-fight win streak, fought Jessica Andrade, Nina Nunes, Lorena Marcos, all these girls right there. Both fighters right here are veterans in this women's strawweight division, and they're fighting almost 5 years later right here. Angela Hill and Tecia Torres, and is a very 50-50 fight. The betting odds for the fight have Tecia as a -125, and then Angela Hill as like a minus or plus 100 right there. Overall, is very 50-50. The Tapology predictions 56% and 44% right there. 50-50. This is a classic 50-50 fight, but Angela Hill is, of course, going to have the height advantage and the reach advantage in the fight. They don't call Tecia Torres the tiny tornado for no reason. She's going to be very small, of course. But right here, Angela Hill and Tecia Torres, their rematch. The way Angela Hill is going to need to win the fight, after watching Tecia Torres in her last fight with Sam Hughes, she needs to not get pressure. The pressure of Tecia Torres is what's going to get her the win. Tecia needs to go out there and just throw a lot of volume, a lot of pressure, back Angela Hill up against the cage. Don't let her have any range to land those kicks, the body kicks, the leg kicks, the head kicks. You can't allow Angela Hill to land any of those kicks. That's going to be what Tecia Torres needs to do in the fight, is close that distance and get Angela Hill to the back of the cage and just start doing what she does. She's the tiny tornado. Be a tiny tornado. Just start throwing left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook over and over again, and look for that knockout win. Now, she only has like 1 or 2 knockout wins in her career, but she can definitely get a knockout. I don't think that's going to happen, but if she's going to win, it's going to be her pressuring the heck out of Angela and throwing a buttload of volume on Angela, because if Angela's going to win, I do think she's gonna have to use that 5'3" height and the 64.5" reach, those height and reach advantages, to keep range and just leg kick, body kick, leg kick, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and just stay on the outside of Tecia Torres and just win the decision just by staying on the outside and not letting Tecia pressure as much as she usually does. That is gonna be the main way I do see Tecia Torres winning. And Angela Hill, she did, in my opinion, she did beat Michelle Waterson and she did beat Claudia Gadelia. So honestly, in my opinion, she's currently on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak fighting Tecia Torres right now. But Angela Hill is an absolute beast. Tecia Torres is also an absolute beast. I definitely do think this is a 50-50 fight. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with a very, very slight underdog in Angela Hill. I do like, in the fight with Michelle Waterson, she opened the fight really, really good with landing the overhand rights. Her movement was very, very solid. I think that movement is going to be what allows her to stay away from the power shots and the short, fast blitzes of Tecia Torres, the pressure and the volume of Tecia Torres. That new movement, the better movement that we saw in the Michelle Waterson fight is going to be on display against Tecia Torres. She's going to be moving around the outside, jabbing, leg kicking, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, overhand right every now and then as well. And I do think she's going to win a very, very close 29-28 decision. Of course, Tecia Torres could go out there, pressure the heck out of Angela, and win the decision, but all Angela has to really do is use that height, use that reach, and just have a really, really good movement around the cage, which I think she will. I think we saw some amazing movement against Michelle, so I think she'll use that movement, keep the fight on the outside, and overall, my prediction is going to be a very, very close 29-28 unanimous decision right there. For, of course, Angela Hill winning the fight by 80 decision right there. Overall, very, very close fight in the women's strawweight division right there. Yadong Song and Casey Kenny in the bantamweight division. Casey Kenny, a very, very slight favorite at -115, and then Yadong Song at -105, so a very, very 50-50 fight. The height and the reach are also very, very 50-50, and then Yadong Song, I have no idea how, but he has more experience than Casey Kenny, only being 23 and a half years old. That is absolutely insane. But the man has been fighting since he was 16 years old, way back in 2013. Sorry, 15 years old, way back in 2016. Absolutely insane how he's been fighting since he was 15 years old. That is just crazy. But Yadong Song, we know he has a lot of power. 16 wins out, 5 losses, and 1 draw in the UFC. Showed a lot of power on Alejandro Perez and knocking him out in the first. Felipe Arantes hitting a second round knockout win. First knockout win right there. Knockout win. I mean, he's getting a lot of knockout wins. 6 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 7 decision wins right there. But the main game plan for Yadong Song fighting Casey Kenny right here is, of course, to close that distance, pressure, and just throw. That's all you really got to do, because Yadong Song is going to, of course, have the power advantage over Casey Kenny, and when you have that power advantage, you're going to want to use that power some way or another, so close the distance, pressure the heck out of Casey Kenny, and just start throwing that power. Eventually, you're going to be landing that power every now and then, and if Casey Kenny and Yadong Song both start throwing, who's going to win the fight? Of course, it's going to be Yadong Song, because he has more power than Casey Kenny, but it's a lot harder said than done. Getting close enough to land those power shots like Yadong Song usually does. He has a very, very powerful right hand, but will he be able to land it is my question, because Casey Kenny is really good at keeping range, using his jab, using his leg case, his body case. The kicking game of Casey Kenny is what I think will give him the very, 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 very slight edge on the feet, because he does have a very fast body kick, very, very fast leg kick as well, a good jab, a good 1-2. Now, Yadong Song definitely has more power than Casey Kenny, but Casey Kenny throws a lot more volume in the boxing. Plus the kicks, I mean, the amount of strikes landed are definitely going to be in Casey Kenny's favor, in my opinion. But out of those strikes, who's landing the more powerful strikes is going to be Yadong Song. He's just the more powerful fighter. But overall, I do think the fight is going to go all the way. And I think the judges are going to be looking at how many strikes are landed between Casey Kenny and Yadong Song, and with the kicking game of Casey Kenny as well as the very, very even boxing game of Casey and Yadong. I think the judges are going to see the boxing being very, very even, but with a little slight edge in the kicking game. I think the judges are going to give Casey Kenny the rounds due to those kicks. Yadong Song doesn't really have as good of a kicking game as Casey Kenny does. So my prediction right here is going to be Casey Kenny keeping the fight at range, letting a lot of leg kicks and body kicks, and in the boxing game, just keeping it very, very even, and overall using those kicks and leg kicks that very, very slightly eke out a very, very close decision win right there. I think it's going to be a 29-28 decision win for Casey Kenny right there. I think the kicks are going to be the deciding factor. Yeah, Yadong Song could definitely go out there, pressure the heck out of Casey, land a lot of good strikes, and not even allow Casey Kenny to land those kicks, but Casey's movement around the cage, eventually he's going to find a way to land those leg kicks, to land those body kicks, and overall win the fight by a unanimous decision right there. Overall, really, really good fight in the bantamweight division right there. Vicente Luque and Michael Chiesa in the welterweight division. It's a pretty easy prediction. I mean, Michael Chiesa's boxing and kickboxing game, Oh my god, it's horrible, man. I mean, let's take a quick look at Michael Chiesa's striking statistics so far inside the UFC. Let's just take a quick look. 1.89 strikes landed every single minute. Now, he's not absorbing that many strikes, but I mean, he's just wrestling and grinding for the decision win. I mean, yeah, his striking accuracy, 40%, that is horrible. But yeah, Michael Chiesa's boxing and kickboxing game, Muay Thai game, pretty much everything to do with his striking, he's going to get dominated by Vicente Luque. Vicente is more powerful, he's faster, he has better combinations, and plus, you add that with the fact that Vicente Luque has amazing takedown defense, only getting taken down by Randy Brown, getting right back up, literally like 20 seconds later, getting taken down by Derek Kronz, getting right back up, literally seconds later after that, getting taken down by Leon Edwards. I mean, it's Leon Edwards, that's not the worst person to get taken down by, but overall, those are the only three guys that have really been able to get a takedown on Tyron Woodley, and on Vicente Luque, but Vicente Luque has really good takedown defense. Michael Chiesa has really good takedown offense, of course, letting three takedowns per fight, 3.6 takedowns per fight, grinding out a dominant decision on Neil Magny in his last fight, grinding out another dominant decision against Rafael dos Anjos, another dominant decision on Diego Sanchez, another dominant decision on Carlos Condit. He's doing the same thing over and over again, but Rafael dos Anjos does horrible against wrestlers. Neil Magny doesn't really do too good against wrestlers. And it's Diego Sanchez, and then it's Carlos Condit near the end of his career. So, with this fight with Vicente Luque, Vicente has the takedown defense to defend the takedowns of Michael Chiesa, or at least use his Kimura submissions, his Darshow submissions from the bottom, and use those to get right back up on the feet. The Darshes, the Kimuras, all those submissions on the bottom, the Anaconda as well. He can definitely use those to get right back up on the feet. But overall, the striking advantage is just too big. I think Vicente will be able to defend most of the takedowns. Maybe Michael will get one or two takedowns, but Vicente will get right back up on the feet and keep the fight there. And come on, guys. If it stays on the feet, who's going to win? Vicente Luque is more powerful. He's faster. He does way better combinations. The only question, in my opinion, is will Vicente Luque get the knockout, or will he get the decision right here? And I'm going to go for a decision win for... sorry about that, for Vicente Luque, because Michael Chiesa, his only losses are by submission. Yes, Vicente Luque could definitely get a submission coming off a very solid Darshow on Tyron Woodley, but if he's going to get the finish against Michael Chiesa, I do think it would be a knockout, but I don't think we're going to see a finish here. I think the fight goes the full 3 rounds, and Vicente Luque ends up winning the fight right here. So my prediction, Vicente Luque by 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision. He has way better striking and really solid takedown defense. So easy prediction, Vicente Luque by a unanimous decision right there. Jose Aldo and Pedro Munoz in the bantamweight division. Pedro Munoz, one of the best leg kickers in the bantamweight division's history. I'm talking about every single bantamweight has walked inside of the octagon and had a professional MMA fight inside of the UFC. Pedro Munoz is the best leg kicker out of all of them in the bantamweight division ever. I mean, the man's leg kicks are absolutely amazing. In this fight with Jose Aldo, I'm not too sure if Jose's gonna be able to withstand all of the punishment with those leg kicks from Pedro Munoz. Jose is gonna be the longer fighter and the taller fighter with a 1-inch height advantage and a very big 5-inch reach advantage right there. And surprisingly, I always thought this was very weird, but Pedro Munoz is literally a week older than Jose Aldo? Barely a week older than Jose Aldo right there. 34, 10 months and 4 weeks old. 34, 11 months old right there. They're basically the exact same age in Jose Aldo and Pedro Munoz, which I thought was very funny. But for this fight with Jose Aldo and Pedro Munoz, the boxing, in my opinion, with Pedro and Jose are very even. That, like, in the fight with Marlon Vera, Jose was kind of staying back and looked for the right hook with the left hook, looking to land to the body a lot in that fight. He landed a lot of good body shots and landed some good leg kicks of his own as well. But Pedro Munoz, I think the boxing and the speed with Jose and Pedro are going to be very even. Overall, I do think the slight boxing advantage will go to Jose with that reach advantage, of course. But you add on the body kicks and you add on those leg kicks that are going to pay dividends as the rounds do go on. You might have to side with Pedro Munoz a little bit. Do I think we're going to see any grappling or wrestling? It's possible. It definitely is a possibility for the fight, but with both of them barely even averaging 1 takedown per fight, they both have amazing 91 and 80% takedown defense. I really doubt we're gonna see any grappling or any wrestling in the fight, but this is another thing I really want to look at is the volume landed from Pedro and the volume landed from Jose. And the reason that his volume is much bigger than Jose's is because of the leg kicks. I mean, we look at his last couple of fights against Jimmy Rivera, against Frankie Edgar, against pretty much everyone he's fought inside the UFC. Just the leg kicks are absolutely insane. I mean, you look at the fight with Jimmy Rivera, 42% to the leg at a 94 strikes. So that is pretty much around 40 strikes landed to the leg on Jimmy Rivera. I mean, I think he knocked down Jimmy Rivera in that fight a couple of times. I mean, the leg kicks are absolutely vicious. Against Frankie Edgar, let's check right here. He probably should have won the fight, to be quite honest with you, but 26% of the strikes to the leg. And if you do 166, let's see, 166 times 0.26, that is a total across 5 total rounds of 43 strikes landed to the leg on Frankie Edgar right there. The leg kicks are gonna pay dividends, and on the judges' scorecards, they're gonna be looking at these strikes. If the boxing is really even, those leg kicks are gonna be the deciding factor. Plus the fact that they're gonna do damage. I mean, Pedro Munoz does damage with those leg kicks. He's not just trying to land to kind of edge out a decision on the judges. He's trying to land to decrease your movement, to decrease the amount of power that you're able to land with your right hand. That's what he does with those leg kicks. They're just so devastating against Jimmy Rivera and against Frankie Edgar that I don't know if Jose is going to be able to withstand all of those leg kicks. And speaking of Jose, in his last fight against Marlon Chito Vera, let's check right here. Let's check if I can find him. I believe Jose Aldo got leg kicked quite a lot in that fight. Let's say Marlon Chito Vera landed 58% of his strikes to the leg of Jose Aldo. Let's do the math right there. Marlon Vera landed 46. I mean, literally more than half of his strikes are to the leg. If Marlon Vera is landing that many times to the leg, imagine if Pedro Munoz can land a similar amount of leg kicks on Jose Aldo and much more powerful leg kicks than Marlon Vera was able to land. I mean, that damage is gonna you're gonna see the damage. I mean, you're gonna see Jose Aldo's leg be super red, super swollen, super purple, super red, and we're gonna see him in that third and final round. He's gonna be limping a little bit. His movement is gonna be way worse than in the first and second round, and that's the reason I'm going to go Pedro Munoz right here. I am going to go Pedro Munoz. Even with the reach advantage, yes, Jose Aldo is the better boxer with the reach advantage, with a height advantage, being a little bit of a bigger fighter, being a natural featherweight fighter. But Pedro, I think the boxing is going to be very even in terms of the amount of strikes landed. But with the leg kicks, all of that, just adding up round by round, minute by minute, I think that damage is definitely going to play a humongous part in this bantamweight fight right here. Sorry to say, Jose Aldo, I think Pedro Munoz is gonna win this fight by a unanimous decision, 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. Maybe one round, Jose Aldo. Maybe the first round, once those leg kicks aren't really paying the dividends just yet, because it is only the first round. Maybe Jose wins the first round, but once those leg kick dividends start to play out in that second and third round, that's when we're gonna see Pedro win the second and win that third round with those leg kicks. So my prediction right here is gonna be a Pedro Munoz 29-28 decision, winning the second and third round right there. Overall, amazing fight in the bantamweight division right there. Derek Lewis and Ciryl Gane for the UFC interim heavyweight belt. The main event of a pay-per-view right here. Absolute banger. We know one of the most powerful fighters, regardless of division, pound for pound right here, in Derek Lewis, with I believe the most knockouts in UFC history. The man is he's an absolute powerful fighter in this heavyweight division. Knocking out Curtis Blades with an amazing uppercut right down the middle when Curtis went for the takedown in that second round, knocking out Alexei Oleinik, knocking out Alexander Volkov in the third round, Marcin Tybura in the third, Travis Brown in the second, Shamil Abdurrahim in the fourth, Gabriel Gonzaga in the first, Victor Pesta third round knockout, first round knockout win right there, second round knockout win. I mean, he has so much power. I know it is the heavyweight division, of course. If it's a heavyweight division, you're going to have a lot of power, but Derek Lewis has a lot more power than the normal heavyweight fighter, because I mean, Cyril Gane, he has some decent power in his hands, but you look at a guy like Derek Lewis compared to Cyril Gane, Derek Lewis has a lot more power than Cyril, but this is going to be a banger of a fight in the heavyweight division. Cyril Gane having a 1-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage, which is going to help, it's going to help him a lot land his jab in the fight, land his 1-2s, land his leg kick, all that type of stuff. I mean, his jab is one of the fastest jabs I've ever seen from a heavyweight fighter. It is absolutely insane. He has amazing movement for a heavyweight fighter, amazing speed for a heavyweight fighter as well. An undefeated fighter in this heavyweight division as well, with 9 wins and 0 losses. Over Alexander Volkov, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Junior Dos Santos, Tanner Boser, and then a couple of other guys as well. How is he getting his wins? 3 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 3 decision wins. So I have no idea how he's going to win the fight. I do think Cyril Gane will end up winning the fight, but I have no idea how. I mean, he varies that up on how he wins. I mean, in main event fights with Jairzinho and then with Alexander Volkov, he's kind of becoming more of a decision type of fighter. But before that, he got a lot more finishes than he's getting now against the main event type of fighters. But do I think he can finish Derek Lewis? Yeah, it's definitely a good possibility. But I don't know. I think the fight's gonna go all the way. I think if Derek Lewis is gonna win, of course it's gonna be a knockout win in the first, second, or third round. If Cyril Gane's gonna win the fight, it's gonna be like a 50-45, 50-45, and then 50-44 dominant unanimous decision or something like that. But he's the faster fighter. He's the better mover on the cage. He's gonna have the height advantage, the reach advantage. All of that does not matter when one punch of Derek Lewis lands, of course, but overall, if the fight does go all the way, Cyril Gane will end up winning. But again, one punch in this heavyweight division with the guy with the record for most knockouts in the heavyweight division of all time in Derek Lewis. One punch landed from Derek Lewis gets him the win. Only one. It's not going to take a 1-2 to knock him out. It could literally be a jab from Derek Lewis to get knock out Cyril Gane. I mean, watching that last fight with Curtis Blades, dude, I literally, when I saw that uppercut, I thought Curtis Blades was dead. Like, it was the hardest uppercut I have ever seen in the UFC by far. He literally got hit, and he was limp immediately right when it hit his chin. But Derek Lewis, the most powerful fighter, maybe besides Francis Ngannou right here, but overall, this fight for the UFC interim heavyweight belt. So Cyril Gane, one of the fastest fighters, one of the best movers in the heavyweight division, the most elusive striker in the heavyweight division, only 31 years old, in the prime of his MMA career, the height advantage, the reach advantage, everything like that. So I am going to go Cyril Gane to win the fight by a 50-45 decision. He can definitely get a finish, but I'm going to go Cyril Gane by a decision right there. Again, I don't know if I bet on it because Derek Lewis, his odds against Curtis Blades were very, very similar to the minus 350 odds. I mean, I believe they're even worse than the Cyril Gane odds. I mean, let's check right here. The odds for the Curtis Blades, minus 400 for Curtis Blades, and he landed the knockout. This one, he's even less of an underdog, and he can still land that uppercut. I mean, it's gonna be a crazy fight in this heavyweight division, but I think Cyril Gane is gonna dominate the fight on the feet and overall win the fight by a decision. But again, one punch lands, and the fight's over. But overall, I think Cyril Gane will become the new interim champion in the heavyweight division and fight Francis Ngannou for the belt, maybe in January, maybe in February, or something like that. Or maybe they just put him on the UFC 269 fight card. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But either way, I think Cyril Gane wins this fight, and I think he loses to Francis Ngannou in the main event if that fight does eventually happen from the interim belt right there. But overall, we still got to get past the Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis fight before we talk about Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou. But overall, really solid fight in the in the heavyweight division right here for the UFC interim belt right there. Overall, I'm gonna go a decision win for Cyril Gane right there. Should be a really good fight in the heavyweight division right there. And yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Gane. 13 fights on the entire fight card. I got Cyril Gane winning his fight by a decision. I got Pedro Munoz winning his fight by a decision. Vicente Luque winning his fight by a decision. Casey Kenny winning his fight by a decision. Angela Hill winning her fight by a decision. Rafael Vaziev winning his fight by knockout. Alonzo Menefield winning his fight by knockout. Carolina Kowal-Hewix winning her fight by a decision. Manel Kape winning his fight by knockout. Miles Johns by a decision. Melissa Gatto by a decision. Draco Rodriguez by a decision. And Johnny Munoz Jr. by a decision right there. That is the full card prediction. If you guys like that full card prediction, maybe you disagree with some of the picks on here, here. I know a lot of people are split down the middle on a lot of the fights, like Yadong Song, Casey Kenny, like Pedro Munoz, Jose Aldo. There's a lot of really close fights. So if you guys disagree or maybe agree with any of these predictions, put your predictions in the comment section below. I'd love to see what you guys think is going to happen. But thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. But yeah, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.